Hi, I'm Rohit. Have you been confused by all that's been going on in the news these days? Whether it's about the COVID-19 situation, whether it's about political parties, whether it's about what's going on in the world. It's been a mess. I want to tell you something really powerful today that will help you stay free from all of this confusion and in a place that is peaceful and calm and clear. Would you like that? I'd like you to start from the basic premise that everything you believe is a lie. Not just what one party says or the other party says, not just what one religion says or the other religion, not just one group of people or the other group. Everything. Everything you think, everything I think, everything he thinks, and everything she thinks. Everything we think is a lie. We think we know, but the problem is we really don't. We're making stuff up all the time. And our mind is the culprit behind that. It's interpreting, it's inferring, it's making things up. So for example, if I were to look at somebody and if that person had a frown on their face, I might think that they're frowning because they don't like me. I might think that it's somehow my fault and I did something wrong and I might feel guilty. Or I might feel like, what the hell do you think of yourself? Why are you frowning at me? Well, I didn't do anything wrong. You might get defensive. When someone cuts in front of you, you might think, my God, that stupid idiot, how could they do that? Or you might be a very compassionate person and you might think, oh, maybe they're in a hurry, maybe there's some emergency going on in their life and that's why they're rushing like that. Let them go. But whatever you think, you're making it up. Whatever you believe, you're making it up. Whether it's the media that's making it up for you, whether it's your friends, whether it's society, whether it's a whole lot of people that go under a particular school of thought, or even a religion. Because remember this, that no matter what the original teachers of that religion taught, now it is being interpreted by human beings with fragile egos and twisted minds. And because of those twisted ways of thinking and feeling and believing, because we are a construct of all that we have heard and felt and believed and know, and our experiences and our wounds and all kinds of stuff, because of all of that, everything we think is somehow distorted. So what's the solution? How do we how do we look at things? How do we react to things? What do we believe in? Can you go around believing that nothing is indeed true? How do you manage your life like that? It would be crazy. I learned something very profound from the great philosopher Socrates when he said, "To know that you do not know is the greatest step to knowledge." Let me repeat that again. To know that you do not know is the greatest step to knowledge. This has been for me a very key, pivotal understanding about life. When I accepted that fact that I do not know, what it did was it created a feeling of, confusion in the beginning. But when I understood that this is the key place from which I can begin to grow and learn, then I understood, I see what he's trying to say. He's saying that if you come to this place of not knowing, then what will arise in you is curiosity. What will arise is openness. You'll be able to hear different points of view. You will not become caught up in a particular way of thinking or feeling. Now think about it. What happens at the extreme level of our beliefs? If we believe something very dogmatically, like this is the way it is, what happens? We become rigid. Not only we become rigid, some of us will become argumentative. Some of us might become violent. Some of us might come to the point where we convince many other people about this. And therein lies the birth of fanaticism. Fanaticism could be a political movement. Fanaticism can be a religious movement. The fact of the matter is that the more profoundly and deeply you believe something, the more fanatical you become. The more fanatical you are, the more intolerant you become. And it can go to the extreme of what you see happening when people go out and kill each other in the name of their religion or their politics or economics or whatever else. It all arises from the fact that you think your version of reality is the truth. Your way is the way. And that causes you to become so full of yourself that you cannot see others, you cannot understand their pain, you cannot feel what they're going through as a consequence of your thoughts. This could be something that happens in a family where you treat your children that way. It could be a way you treat your spouse. It could be a way you treat your employees, and it could be the way you run your country. It's all over us, all around us. It's so much a part of our lives that we don't even see it. So what is one to do if one was to live from the place of I don't know and from curiosity and from openness? What would happen? Well, we'd listen to each other. We'd consider each other's points of view. We would try different things. We would experiment. We would explore. We would try to find, instead of the truth, we would try to find what works. We would like to see what leads us towards the things we really desire, such as peace, such as harmony, such as happiness, such as love. What are the things you desire in your life? And what would happen if you were to try and stop believing what your mind is telling you? What if you were to really stop believing everything you know, whether it's science or religion, whether it's what you think about this person or that person, or even about yourself? What if you stop believing? And then start observing, start listening, start feeling, start experiencing. Not because you think a certain way, but because that's life happening in front of you, with you. You see what I'm trying to say? Step into your body, step into your senses, and experience the world as it is, raw, unprocessed by your mind, unfiltered by your values and your ideas of how things should be and should not be. Try it. It's a very powerful way of living your life. I've been practicing this for quite a while, and it's really helped me be able to be a more present person. You know, people talk of being present in their lives. How can you be present if you're in your head? You can't be present. Presence begins by practicing this. It is a place of being truly in an event, in a situation, in a conversation, without any idea of how things should or should not be, without any preconceived notions. So it allows you a greater degree of experiencing, a greater degree of feeling, a greater degree of living, of being alive. Wouldn't you want that for yourself? Whereas if you have preconceived notions of what you think you know and what you believe, then you start chipping away and cutting away at everything that you think should not be. And you start cutting people out of your life, you start dismissing various groups of thought, you start dismissing science, or you start dismissing religion, you start dismissing this group of people and believing in the other group of people. So it's a vicious cycle, and you might want to stay away from it. So that brings us to the most important question. Is there anything such as the truth? I know that I've been telling you to believe nothing, and now the question is going to be, should you believe what I'm going to say next? Because what if there is something such as the truth? See, the problem is this, that we've been trusting and believing everything our mind tells us and everything our senses tell us. But not everything our mind and senses tell us is true. In fact, I might go so far as to say that most things that we perceive are entirely subjective and often untrue. And that has been proven from time to time. There are times where we believed the earth was flat. There were times we believed that people who were, let's say, from Africa were subhuman and did not, deserve to be anything but slaves. We've believed all kinds of crazy things about ourselves and about the world around us. And I think we've proven to ourselves again and again that our minds and our thinking can be quite flawed. So let's turn to another source. I'm going to right now turn to some ancient wisdom from what are known as the Vedas, or the books of knowledge from India. And they have a very interesting way of trying to describe what is truth. They refer to the truth as something that they call Param Satyam, the great truth. The great truth, according to them, is that which is eternal, or to put it in a different way, that which is eternal is that which is true, and that which is temporary is that which is false. Now, everything in this world is temporary. Everything. Your life, your body, the world you see around you is constantly changing. And since it is temporary, therefore it must be false by that definition. But can that stand up to scrutiny? Because it looks so real. It feels so real. When you smash against a wall, it hurts. When you jump from a cliff, you die. So there's no getting around how real this feels. But just because it feels real, doesn't mean it really is. Let's turn for a moment to what scientists would say about this. Upon examining matter, that includes our bodies, that includes the world around us, when they've put it under an electron microscope, what they find is that 99.9% of all that we see is actually air. That the rest of it, the protons and particles, are in fact just waves. And that none of it is actually real. And this is exactly what the ancients of that time in the Vedic period in India were talking about. They referred to this world as Maya. Maya meant illusion. They called this an illusion. So if this is an illusion, and if the reality is that which is eternal, what is it they're referring to there? What is eternal? Is anything eternal? Well, remember what the scientists said, that behind all of this, behind these waves, behind these particles that constitute matter, is an energy. And energy, even as Einstein defined it, can neither be created nor destroyed. It is therefore eternal. And that's exactly what the ancients were talking about when they said that the eternal is that which is real, because what is real can neither be created nor destroyed. I think you might be starting to see the logic in all of this now. So what is this thing that is eternal reality? It is this that leads us to the finding of the deepest spiritual truths. You see, we've all tried to look into things like trying to be happy, trying to fall in love, trying to be peaceful, trying to be satisfied, content, and we've come up empty-handed. Even the richest person on earth will tell you this, that they are not content, that they are not happy, that they are not fulfilled, and they do not experience love for any length of time. So, how can we experience these things in an eternal way? Well, the answer lies in energy. The energy that is all around us was described by the ancients as Brahman. Brahman was the energy of the divine, or the energy of God, which was pervading the entire universe, just as the sun rays pervade this universe that we live in. So that energy is everywhere. It is also in everyone. The divine is present in every atom of the creation. So you might ask, well, and how do I know this? What proof do I have? What evidence do I have? Well, one is, of course, the scientific one. But you too can have that experience. When you slow down and you pause and you savor something like food or music or a drink or anything, you will feel very exhilarated. If you stop and savor and the beauty of nature or of another human being, if you touch, if you kiss, if you love, you will experience something very profound. That something profound is this energy. You have now come in touch with it, and it is what makes you feel blissful. It is what makes you feel uplifted. This energy is the eternal truth, and it is here that you will find everything you've been looking for. When we become aware of this energy, that has been referred to in spiritual practices as awakening or enlightenment. You begin to see and feel the presence of the divine everywhere and in everyone. This indeed is the actual Holy Grail. This is the thing we've all been looking for, the experience of heaven on earth. It's right here, and it lies hidden behind matter. The practice that I'm going to talk to you in the upcoming videos is all about how to unlock this energy, how to experience it for yourself, and how to live an incredible life. Stay with me, and we're going to have a lot of exciting things to talk about. I'll see you in the next video.